Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
Is there anybody out there that wants to roll? And is there anybody out there that wants to boogie? Tonight, live from the Apollo, Glasgow.
Well, if you're looking for trouble, I'm the man to see. If you're looking for satisfaction, it's satisfaction guaranteed. I'm as cool as a body on ice. Hotter than the rolling dice. Send you to heaven, or take you to hell. I ain't fooling, can't you tell? I'm alive.
Hello. I tell you what, mate, I like the way you sing that. I like the way you sing that song.
It's just the way I sing, mate.
The bit when you growl, trouble, that's brilliant. Anyway, hello and welcome to the 3rd and a half edition of the Glasgow Apollo live broadcast. My name's Scott MacArthur and I'm sitting in a little room in the Cotswolds in Ingerland and it's pissing down.
Good evening. Welcome to Glasgow Apollo Live. I'm doing professional stuff now, Scott. My name is Andy and I am sitting in a room in Sydney and it's not raining. It's not sunny, but it's not raining.
Right, I'm just making sure the chat's working, folks.
What are we doing this week, mate?
Say that again?
What are we doing this week?
Well, we've got quite a lot this week. As some of you have already seen, the number of gigs that were on this week that Andy has pulled together with new technology. Very good, Andy. I'm quite impressed. Is immense. So I think we should probably just jump right into this. Could someone let us know if the Facebook group is working? Because it's not coming up on my... I can see the chat, but it seems to be working, doesn't it? You see it. Right, thank you. Thank you. Hiya, James. Thank you, mate. Good to see you. Not alone there, mate. And Steve from the Netherlands. Hi, how you doing? It's freezing. Yeah. A pal of mine who might be on, a guy called Manny, who's a fell runner, and he's a bit of a fitness freak. And he just sent me a picture of him and his lad outside his house near Glasgow, near Inverness. Sorry, Manny. And they've built eight snowmen, so it's pretty heavy up there, but it's not so bad here at the moment. Anyway, so tonight we're going to do the usual. We're going to look at how things have been going on Facebook and on the socials generally. Some interesting stuff again this week, guys. Really quite good. Then we'll go into who played this week, and there is loads. And I genuinely think we could be on here for 3 hours tonight. We won't be, but I genuinely think we could be if we wanted to be. We'll then get a piece of film. And it links to one of the queries that we've had that came flying in via Messenger. And then finally, we've got a song of the week, which is one that some of you might have seen on the YouTube channel, but I like it because it shows a particular part of the Apollo that I've got some memories of. So that's the show tonight. So to start with, the socials this week. Andy, how are we doing? What's been happening on Facebook?
Good. It's really good. On Facebook, we have about this week 5,500 active members. That's just people posting, chatting, commenting, linking. Got about 100 new members as well this week.
Again?
Yeah, it's good. Good. So
I was telling one of my mates how many people are joining every week, and he didn't believe me. I said, no, honestly, that many people are joining. It's quite incredible, quite incredible. So anyway, there's a couple of things that I just wanted to mention, Andy. Is there anything else? Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Well, I was going to say, because there's 100 people a week joining or more, if anyone sees that there's someone, because anyone can approve anyone, careful. If you see someone who looks kind of okay, just join them. You know, if they turn out to be nut jobs, then I can delete them and Scott can. But just join them, because it's like I'm always joining people. You know, so if you'd like to join, you like add to other people, just add them as well. Yeah.
The only ones I don't let join are the sort of the ones that have got nothing on the profile. You know, if they've got blank profiles, or just that does worry me a wee bit when I see that. So I don't tend to let them in. I cannot see the chat. That's quite bizarre. Right. We've got a question here. Can you see it? That's fine. Did you see Classic Rock's 50 best live albums? In the top 10 were 2 shows from the Apollo, AC/DC, and Quo. Absolutely brilliant. I didn't see that. And I don't know who that was that said that, but thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. I'm not surprised either. Pretty good. There's a couple of things, right? I think there's one thing's quite funny, and another one is a bit is really quite interesting. Chris Welsh from Barrow upon Humber. If you're there, Chris, how you doing, mate? I got an email from Chris, and there was a few things in the email. One of the things he asked us to talk about was who played the most times at the Apollo. Now, Andy, this has come up before, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We've been asked this a few times. I think it is status quo, although somebody else said it might be Billy Connolly.
No.
I don't think it is either.
It's not. No. He did. Maybe it's in a row, because he did 13 days in a row, and but status quo didn't never play. I think they played 28 times. I think. I'm not sure. I think it's 28 times. Something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And who else played a lot of times?
Website, man. Look.
That's the website.
The website is www.glasgowapollo.com or apollomemories.com as well, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go there.
Yeah.
I find it funny when people are asking, you know, that they're on the Facebook page and go, oh, I don't know, who was that? Who was the support band? Who was that support band? Go and just look on the website. You'll find something there. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's but maybe they don't know. So we'll find out.
We'll find it. You can work your magic with the database there, mate, and see if you can come up with the right answer. Anyway, there's another one, a chap, and I wish it was the real Ian Gillan, but a guy called Ian Gillan. And Ian, I hope you're there. We've seen a lot of your stuff on the Facebook group, so hi, mate. Ian sent us something that was not specifically about the Apollo, and quite often my little Nazi friend here deletes these before they get onto the website, but this one was a bit different.
Not a Nazi, man.
I'll tell you what, if anyone's looking for a website administrator, Mr. Muir here is available. But this one came from Ian Gillan, and I can't show you the whole thing here, but Andy can read it. And this, well, I don't know if you've got a note of that in front of you, but this is one that we got here that shows some of the old venues in Glasgow. And at the top of the page, which you can't see there, it says, venues in 1977 where you could see rock. And there's been a load of you have commented on that in the group. And I have to say, there's a lot of these venues. I mean, I'm not a Glaswegian, so I wouldn't be as close as some of you guys are to these venues. But obviously, I knew the Burns House. But a lot of these other venues, Andy, I don't know if you've seen or know many of these other venues. Recognisable to you, mate?
No, I was just a young fellow. So I don't recognise many of them.
No, I don't. Because
I'm sure our users
aye.
know all about them.
So Maggie, I think I've heard of Maggie's, and I've obviously the Burns House. I saw who did I see? I saw the Dolphins at the Burns House. Do you remember the Dolphins?
I do remember the Dolphins. Yes, I saw them at Kelvin Grove.
Yeah, but the Burns, I like the Burns House. I used to go there for a drink occasionally before gigs as well. I was a bit young for doing that, but did occasionally. The one I had never heard of, and I'm probably saying something here that's sacrilege, but is it the Amorpha or Amphora or something? I don't know how to pronounce it. Or the Amphora. Is that the Edinburgh way of saying it, mate?
Well, it's just your way of saying it.
But I'd never heard of it.
Your way of saying it.
I'd never heard of it. And there was a few of the guys in the group said there's obviously quite a lot of people in that are punk music fans, and they were saying, "Oh, there wasn't any punk music." I think this was probably just about a year before the punk scene started to take off in Glasgow. So, because I know a friend of mine who I've mentioned before, who lives in the same village as me, was in one of the punk bands, and I can't remember the name. No, I can't remember the name, but he raves about the Glasgow punk scene all the time. So they must have come a bit later, and there must have been venues where the punk bands played. But Andy, could you just do me a favour? I can't see this streaming into the Apollo group. Can you see it get into the Apollo group? I can see it on my Facebook, but I can't see it on the Apollo group. I get a wee bit nervous when I
don't see. No, I don't see it, man.
Is anybody watching this from the Apollo group, please, guys? Is anyone watching this from the Apollo group within Facebook? Because it'd be such a pain if it's not working there. I can direct people to my profile right enough, but could you let me know if any of you are watching it? Because if no one says anything, I'll post something in the group. In fact, I'll do it now. A couple of good comments here, like Nazareth, blinking heck, Trevor. Now, I think Nazareth were one of the bands that played this week at the Apollo anyway, weren't they, Andy? And Rory Gallagher.
Yep, Rory Gallagher. I don't actually see it on the page. So
right, somebody's saying yes, somebody's saying yes, and someone's saying no.
Somebody said no.
Right, hold on.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Andy, I'll do some quick. I'll get a post into the group now. If you just want to talk about who played this week. Someone actually is saying I'm watching from Facebook. So are you watching from my profile or are you watching the Glasgow Apollo group? That's the key thing, because we're streaming twice in there. Right, I'm just going to stick a note on here because just in case. Andy, who played this week, mate, while I'm doing this?
Who played this week? We have a delightful. Lots of bands played this week. Well, Led Zeppelin for one, and I just noted that someone posted, a guy posted that there was a bootleg available, rescued recording available on the YouTubes for the 4th. That's today for you guys. But I listened to that this morning, and I also listened to the one from the 3rd. Pretty good. The one on the 3rd is a much better quality, but yeah, I like that one. King Crimson played as well, and they've got a link on their website to a recording of that that you can buy if you really fancy it. Donovan played. I don't really know much about Donovan apart from I think he comes from Brigton.
Does he? All right.
Yep, I think so. I think he does. Could be wrong.
Is he still alive?
Well, I think so. I haven't heard anything otherwise. Then Bad Company played, and they supported. I would have loved to have gone to that gig. You know, he's my favourite singer, Paul. Yep. And I was just a bit too young for that. I was 7, 6, so I probably wouldn't have been able to go. But I didn't even know about them then.
No.
And he wrote with a guy called Duster Bennett. And you've got a little story about him, if you can.
Yeah, that show is quite a famous show because it was just after 3, wasn't it? And it was near the beginning, I think, if I'm right, of the Thanks for joining us, Jimmy, all the way from the States. Hope things are okay over there. The story that a lot of people tell is that Duster Bennett, got quite a harsh response from the crowd, and he went off after 2 or 3 songs. And as he was driving home, he fell asleep at the wheel and he crashed his car. And we even put that on the Apollo website for 1974. It's fake news, guys. He did die in a car crash. This guy, Duster Bennett, who I'll talk about in a minute, but it was 2 years later, and he was actually supporting Memphis Slim, one of the great blues guys, and he did fall asleep at the wheel and he did die in 1976. But this guy, was anybody at that gig? Because I'd like to know if the story about him getting booed off is true, because there was quite, I remember on the Apollo, when we had the early Yahoo stuff, Andy, people used to talk about him. He was one of the ones that always came up when we were speaking about who got booed off. But poor Duster, he didn't end very well. But then I looked up some of his music today on YouTube, and I'd never done it before. Well, it wasn't available 10 years ago. And he was all right. He was a bit light in terms of some of his the pop stuff he did, but he worked with Peter Green and stuff of Fleetwood Mac fame. So I think he was a bit of a dude, actually. He did some brilliant covers of blues standards. So I don't think he was as bad as due to get booed off. And then again,
So after Bad Company and Duster Bennett, they did 2 nights. Rory Gallagher played that week. My God, we got Bad Company twice, and Rory Gallagher twice that week. That would have been a brilliant week to go. That'd be amazing. Yeah. That'd be really good. And then we got some DVDs before a bit for Rory Gallagher, and I didn't really know much about him. And I'm ashamed to say, but he was a good. I really like him now. Good. Also, Larry Cunningham and Margot, another Irish. They're another Irish pair. I watched some of their stuff. It's pretty country, sort of kind of country. You know. Sometimes when Billy Connolly's doing when they do he does a sketch about people singing songs in the house. One singer, one song, one singer, one song, and the people go up and sing hey, hey, kind of country songs.
Yes.
They are kind of like that. They're like almost yodely kind of thing. Yeah, so they're pretty funny.
So Sidney Devine with an Irish accent.
Yes, exactly. It would be. Yeah. Do
you remember Sidney Devine?
Yeah. Bill O'Donnell counts Larry Cunningham as a major influence.
Does he?
Yeah. Must be good.
Must be good then. Yeah.
Right. And then there's Brian Ferry. He played. This is 1976. Brian Ferry played. Steve Hillage. The Dubliners. That would have been a great gig. That would have been. I watched a Marshall Tucker band. I watched a video of them from, I think it was like a month from that southern country rock band. Really good. Then the Drifters and Nazareth played, which would have been a great Scottish gig. And then the Damned played. That would have been a bit of a mad gig. And the Misfits played. I don't know, was that the Misfits with I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Really, so they got quite famous, the Misfits. Oh man, I've totally forgot that guy's name. And then Joe Jackson and the Mirrors and someone else. That would have been a fantastic. And then Queen.
Brilliant. Queen. I've heard of them.
And then MSG. Queen would have been a fantastic gig because I just watched the bootleg of that earlier. Listen to them. Right. Yeah, it was very good, very good. Freddie giving it big lick.
You can definitely sing that. There's a question here, Andy, from Steve Hall asking where Marseille big enough to play the Apollo? I don't think they were they? A support band, were they not?
They were supporting Nazareth. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny
So
that
on that image I sent through, if it's the band underneath and it's the same day, they're the support band. Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay.
Next week, yeah.
We'll see if we can make that display a bit easier next week. But it's
it's
amazing seeing it like that. Good work, that Andy. Jerry, that's because on the website it doesn't. It just gives you a wee list. It's not quite as detailed as that, so it's pretty good. Well done, mate.
Yeah.
Well done. It's funny the question there about Marseille and whether they were big enough to play the Apollo. They didn't headline, but the one thing that Frank Lynch told me, and if you're on, Frank, how you doing, sir? I hope to speak to you soon. He used to just take, in his words, a punt with bands. So bands like Y&T, Girls' School, they were never big enough to play the Apollo, but they got a chance to play there. And I actually wrote to Dave Meniketti from Y&T this week because he's a really nice guy, and said to him that we'd mentioned him. So I'm hoping he'll come back, and it might even be. I mean, I'll brass neck it and I'll ask him if he fancies coming on and talking about it. It wouldn't surprise. You never know, do you? You just never know. And particularly at the moment.
I'm pretty sure when I saw Y&T 37 years ago last week, there was people up in the circle, and they kind of stopped. I'm not sure if they stopped the gig or when they swapped over the bands, people came down into the stalls. Am I making that up? I'm not sure. I seem to remember something like that.
I don't have that type of memory, but I remember it happening. I remember people all coming, them stopping and everybody coming into the stalls. I remember that happening. I don't know if it was that gig. An okay memory, but I can't remember that long ago, mate. Kenny Wilson's saying here, brilliant memories of the Apollo, sensational Alex Harvey band, the Stones with Kossoff obviously there, but Nazareth, Ozzy, Robin Trower. Robin Trower, I've never really got into his music. Do you know his music?
Yep, I like him.
Yeah. I saw him once, but I never really went. I enjoyed the gig. I remember enjoying the gig, but I don't remember. Especially, there's other bands that I remember seeing, the Groundhogs, and we'll probably talk about them one week as well. They played the Apollo a couple of times, and I've seen them about 3 times, but I never get into them. But I really liked them live. That's a bit weird.
I think Robin Trower had a Scottish singer, Jimmy. He's the bass player, really good singer. Right. Jimmy, I think he was in Stone the Crows, or his brother. Someone, maybe his brother was or not. Or maybe he was in Stone the Crows. Jimmy. He's a really good bass player, really good singer. Really like Paul Rodgers type.
Oh, really? That good? Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
But I think Nazareth are probably the most underrated band I've ever. I mean, I don't know how they're not massive or weren't massive. I know they were quite big.
They were massive. They were
a brilliant band. I just loved their stuff. And Dan has just got one of the best voices I've ever heard.
I was listening to that Apollo show that's on YouTube from, I think it's from River Records, and listening to that I was going, I see where Axl Rose just got his style from.
Really, you think that?
Oh, definitely. I think I may be making this up, but I think Dan McCafferty was asked to sing at Axl Rose's wedding. I could be wrong. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I hope he didn't sing Love Hurts.
No.
Maybe he did. Maybe that was the song.
Maybe cocaine, I think. I heard there was also, I think that Dan got did he not get auditioned for AC/DC as well at one point?
Well, if he didn't, he should have, because he'd be perfect for it. He would have been perfect for it.
Yeah, he would have fitted in. It would be fantastic. But anyway, I think Paul Dawson said on Facebook, what a lineup this week. I think that is absolutely, mate, isn't it? I mean, I think we could, and we might be doing this because we're thinking about what we do moving forward. We might just focus on one band, and I think we could go on all night about, this particular week. Funny though, you noticed this. There's not many weekend gigs, is there?
I did notice that, and I was this is so nerdy, but I was going to take all the dates and put them into a database, and then just make a graph of the days just to see how many days were on the weekend. And I don't understand. Like I said to you, that's a bit nerdy, isn't it? Yeah. No.
This is like that show Stranger Things when the wee boy, the wee one with all the hair says, you're a nerd, and he goes, yeah.
Oh, come on. Well, I was just thinking it would be good to have it on a graph. Yeah. Saturday. So what was the most popular day? Thursday or Wednesday? I don't know. Looks to be Wednesday to me. Monday or Wednesday. But I couldn't understand. And I thought maybe, like I said to you, it might be because, I don't know, when a tour started. Did it start in the south or did it start in the north? Like, did they work their way up and work their way down? They probably started in London and went up.
Yeah.
Or did a little circuit round. Oh, you hired the whole band, Nazareth. Oh, okay. Someone on Facebook said Axl Rose got married. He hired the whole band Nazareth to play his wedding. Well, that would have been a good wedding.
That was Jimmy again. That was Jimmy Smith. But,
brilliant, Jimmy. Thanks.
That'd be great. Actually, it's like I never told you this story, I don't think. When I got married the first time round, you were there, Julie. I wanted to hire a band, and I looked at Motorhead.
You've only been married once.
Yeah, but I'm on another one anyway. But I looked at getting a band, and I looked at Motorhead, and Motorhead were available for I think it was $3,500 for weddings. Isn't that mental? Yeah.
No way.
I honestly, it was mad. And you see a bit of that happening now as well. I don't know if you've come across. There's a lot of the bands now. Can't remember the name of the website at the moment, but there's a lot of the bands will do personal messages for you now on social media. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
$200 to get, I don't know, somebody to say hello and all the best. It's quite. So maybe it's the way they always.
I was listening to there was a podcast I like called Rock on Tour with Guy Pratt and Gary Kemp from Spandau Ballet. And Guy Pratt has basically played on thousands of records. He's a bass player, and he played Robert Palmer and everything. And he was talking. He played on David Coverdale. He played on 1987, I think. And they had an interview with him last week, and or any time, it doesn't matter. I was thinking, imagine having David Coverdale saying happy birthday to you. Good evening, darling. Happy birthday. It would be brilliant. Mental.
This one here from Chris is quite good. Chris, hi Chris, thanks for your email before, mate. Attended a Rory Gallagher gig the night before my Mass O level and failed it miserably. Yeah, worth it. Oh dear.
I didn't attend a Rory Gallagher, and I failed my Mass O level. So you're better than me.
Oh dear. How many times did you fail it though?
That's just a couple, maybe. I think I got on the reset.
Oh, that's all right.
On the reset. Hey, look, it wasn't good at studying, right? It's not my thing.
Here's one here that's quite interesting if you saw it.
Yes, Iron Maiden, I think Judas Priest supported as well. Queen were, yeah.
So,
Well, Iron Maiden, yeah.
not bad. Iron Maiden was one
I
of the
didn't.
first.
I never saw Iron Maiden.
I remember
Yeah.
I saw Iron
I didn't.
Maiden at the- Are you making funny noises deliberately?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you might be. Right. So while you're sipping all that in, guys, any more comments or thoughts on that? That would be great. Here's who's this?
It's not that I hated it. It's just I didn't understand it. There's a difference. Yeah. Yes, correct. Van Halen, Def Leppard, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Van Halen. Gosh, Van Halen. That was really sad, wasn't it?
No, it was so sad.
Oh,
yeah. Very
desperate. I watched the last gig that they did. You know, I think it was 2015 or something. And God, that boy could play guitar. There was a funny grumpy old git at the front with a flat cap on, going, "Aah!" but the guitar player was extraordinary.
Yeah. Well, Dave's a front man.
He is. I'll give you that. Okay. And actually, the other thing, I did go back and watch some of the early Van Halen stuff, and you know what? The boy could scream and tune, couldn't he? It was quite amazing.
Oh yeah,
he was very
amazing scream.
He was absolutely fantastic. So I'm no. Genesis supported Lindisfarne. John, did they?
Yes.
Blinking heck.
Peter Gabriel was singing there.
That'd be amazing. And there's another one here from Chris Welsh, Davish White Band. Yeah, they were really popular, and I think they still are quite popular, aren't they? Were they not from Lanark or Luke or something?
No.
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 Where's the Average White Band?
No.
Chris. They're Scottish, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're Scottish. Yeah.
I thought they were from our neck of the woods. Anyway, right. So, whilst you're thinking, guys, I'm going to go into the next bit, and it's about video. Now, I've actually got it linked to one of our regular replay watchers, Graham McDonald. Hi, Graham. Graham's over in the States, and I think he's a bit of a Paul McCartney fan, and he sent me a note this week on Messenger about a documentary that was made about Paul McCartney and his touring back in the 70s, I think it was. And there's a documentary, it's on YouTube, called Wings Across the World. And it claims that the gig that it's on it is the Apollo. And it just doesn't look like the Apollo at all, because the kids have got their arms on the stage and they're doing this and he's touching their hands. But there is actually another recording that I've got. I found it on YouTube of Paul McCartney. I think it is the Apollo stage, but I want the hive mind to have a look at this. So it's less than 2 minutes long, so it's not a big long thing. But I'll just play it for you now. What I'll do first is I'll put it off. So Andy, this might bring back some memories, mate. Do you think that was the
Yes,
Apollo?
that's the Apollo.
I think it's the Apollo.
Yes. Yep. That is the Apollo.
As Fish said tonight in his Fish on Friday, Fish's lyrics are a bit more difficult to remember than Paul McCartney's. Boogie woogie. Goodness gracious. But I think that was the Apollo when I know. Sorry. He's giving me one of my little.
How many million? Sorry, Fish, but Paul McCartney sold a heap of records.
It's just
yeah,
doesn't think he was any good.
Yeah, he used to be so chorus, but
yeah.
Now this might look like beer, and it is 9:05 in the morning. It's alcohol free. It's more of a sport, I believe.
For breakfast, my God. And Chris Welsh has just said the Average White Band are from Dundee. There you go.
Okay.
I was 100 miles wrong, but never mind. So, yeah, I'm sure that was the Apollo. Yeah, I knew they were Scottish. At least I got that.
Yeah. That is the Apollo.
The other thing that I just wanted to mention tonight that we didn't touch on when we were talking about the bands that played, Jack McCafferty, who most of you will know, runs the Rescued recordings from the Glasgow Apollo, as well as sites about Tommy Vance and various other mainly rock stuff from the 80s and the 90s, 70s, 80s and 90s. He was the guy who managed to unearth the Zeppelin recording from the 1972 gig. And Derek McAdam put it really well, I thought, in the Facebook group. He said, after 40 years, I've managed to get a recording of the show. I mean, it's incredible that these things can go missing for so long, or can reappear, rather. And William McGlaughlin, I think it's McGlaughlin. Sorry, William, I forgot your name wrong, mate. But he put a ticket on, and there's been a massive response to it. Folks saying, "Oh, I wish I'd been at that," and that, like Andy, I listened to the show myself yesterday, and they were one hell of a good band. And I never ever saw them. I've seen them all in their solo bands, and I saw the Firm, which was a band with Paul Rodgers, wasn't it? And I've seen Plant a couple of times, but oh God, it's probably the only band I can think of. Yeah, I can't think of another one. The only band I can think of that I'd like to have seen Elvis Presley. I'm not an Elvis Presley fan, but I'd like to have seen him. But I'd like to have seen more than anybody else Led Zeppelin, because I just love those early gigs. They were amazing. So yeah, guys, Derek and Rob, I absolutely agree with you. And I think Jack's on holiday now from the Rescued Recordings site before Christmas, but it's one he posted it on that group. I think it was today, actually, or yesterday. So it's available for download. Highlight. I mean, it's not the most brilliant quality recording, but I think it's pretty damned amazing, actually. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I think the one from the third is a better sound.
Right.
Yeah. There's one in the fourth, but the one in the third is good. Yeah.
I just think it's extraordinary. Okay, so we'll come to the end, unless there's any more questions. Now, we're going to do what we did last week, and it was great fun. We went on for over an hour over on Zoom. I've already posted the link into the Facebook group. If you do want it, though, just stick it in the comments, guy. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do it now while I'm talking to you. I've got it here. Let me just get this.
Yeah, I can't see the name, Scott. I can't see the name on the. Sometimes I see the name on the chat, but someone's put Slade had Quo, Lizzie, and Sensational Alex Harvey band. That would have been a great band too. Those have been great gigs as well.
Would have been.
I've seen Slade and Thin Lizzy.
I know, eh?
Who, me? Yeah. I'm drinking this.
Oh, I'm
Slow Slade.
I'm on I'm on the same sort of crap, alcohol free.
Well, hard rocking, guys.
But on Zoom, I don't drink alcohol free. That's when I there's too many buttons here. If I have a drink and try to play with these buttons, guys, it would be it would just be there'd be a stushy. It wouldn't end well at all. Robert Reed's asked a question here about a question here for your listener. Yeah, our listeners tuned in, Andy. Who was, as far as I know, the Scot that auditioned for AC/DC in London to replace Bon Scott? Oh, Dan McCafferty.
Dan McCafferty.
Wait a minute. Something else comes through my head. So there was the guy from Advidazane Pet, wasn't there? There was Brian Johnson. You know the boy with the hair who died?
The boy with the hair who died. Oh, yes, I know who you mean.
He auditioned for AC/DC. He was...
the Cockney guy.
And
Gary.
Sorry?
Gary. The Cockney bloke.
I don't know if he's Cockney, but it was the guy with the long hair. He was in a band. But somebody will tell me what he was in. What was the band that he was in?
Heavy Metal Kids.
That's it. Heavy Metal Kids. Jimmy Barnes, yeah. I'd loved it. Jimmy Barnes would have been brilliant in AC/DC, wouldn't he?
Well, I don't think that would have.
How's that?
At the time, Jimmy was a bit mad. He's still a bit mad, but Holt, that's right.
Yeah. Gary Holt, that's who it was. Yeah, Gary Holt. Thanks,
Gary
John
Holt.
and Trevor.
Gary Holt.
Holden.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Was it Holt, Gary Holton or Gary Holten? Come on, who was it? Or was it Gary Holden?
Thanks, Ian. Wish somebody's been sensible tonight. Ian Bamford. Thanks, Ian. Yeah, but that's a good question. That so it would be Jimmy Barnes. Have you not heard of Jimmy Barnes? He's another Scot who went to Australia, and he became slightly famous over there with a band called Cold Chisel. They're okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of them, but I love his solo work. And if you've got time during this bloody lockdown, he's written 2 books, autobiographies.
He's written 3 books.
Has he? 3?
What
have I missed?
There's a new one.
I didn't know that. Right. But they're brilliant. And I tell you what, the first book, you can really get from that why bands like Cold Chisel, AC/DC, Rose Tattoo wrote the sorts of songs that they wrote, because bloody hell, that was a tough life, wasn't it?
Yeah.
These boys going to Australia from Scotland. You can really feel. I mean, I saw Rose Tattoo recently, and I've always liked Rose Tattoo. They were always like, obviously quite like AC/DC, but the viciousness of the delivery and the power of the songs in terms of the lyrics, and Little Angry Anderson, my God, he puts it across. I'll tell you. Absolutely.
The thing with the Cold Jim Barnes's book is the first one is called Working Class Boy, and it's kind of set in Glasgow. It's very, very good, because he lived in Cowcaddens when he was younger, and it kind of resonated with me because I was living in Townhead, and it's just not that far from where I used to live. But I was like, oh man, I could really understand what he's talking about in terms of the streets and what it felt like to be. Well, he's 10 years older than me, or more than 10 years older than me. But a really good book, really affecting. If you want to talk about Glasgow, I know a lot of people think, oh, how can he remember that stuff when he was only he left when he was 4 or 5? Doesn't matter. It's still a good story, Still,
that's a brilliant story.
It's very good, It made me cry.
Quite right, Robert. Quite right, Robert. Yeah. Who was it?
You want the answer right now?
Go on. Tell us who it was. He's thinking about it. He's probably typing it.
Come on. He's not going to tell us. He's looking it up.
Tells
That's
you
why
the
he's looking it up on YouTube. He's looking it up on the Google right now.
Probably Billy Connolly or something.
Oh.
Anyway, that's Robert.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the screen, Robert, when you do get it, mate. Thank you. Good man.
Yeah.
We're going to have a final piece now, and it's another piece of video.
Yeah.
And
Of 0-0.
Stevie Docherty. Who's Stevie
Yeah,
Docherty?
of 0-0. He played at he played in a place called 0-0, I think.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up.
Who I saw at Kelvin Grove, I think, too.
Kelvin Grove. Yeah. I've seen. Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did not know that. Thanks, Robert. In fact, I've met him. He's pals with Paul McManus. I met him in where was it? Yeah, Wolverhampton. Good Lord, I did not know that. Didn't know that. Bloody hell.
Correct. I'm correct.
Very good. Very good.
Thank
Thanks very much. That's a pro. I didn't know that at all. Didn't know it. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you. Right. So with that, we're going to go on to the last piece tonight. Now, this is from a brilliant. Well, look, I'm a prog rock fan, so this is from one of the greatest prog rock bands of all time. Not everybody's cup of tea, but this is for their #1 album, Going for the One. This is Yes at the Apollo, and there's most of a gig on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed already, get across there. Just type in Glasgow Apollo Live, and it'll take you to the YouTube channel. We've got 30 odd subscriptions now. We need to get to 100 so we can change the name of the bloody thing, because it's very difficult to share. This is from 1977. And as I say, they were at the peak of their powers at this point. So the band was John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Rick Wakeman had just rejoined, and Alan White, the drummer. So this is about 6 minutes. One of their best pieces, really. Well, I think it is. I don't like Yes. I know they're a bit like 6 minutes. A bit like Marmite. But it does show the Apollo quite well. So at least watch if you're not a Yes fan, worth watching for a couple of minutes, because it's definitely, you can see it's the Apollo. So we'll say cheerio after this. But if you're disappearing, tuning in, and we'll be back in touch. What you saying, mate?
Or was it the Greens?
In 77 would be the Apollo then, wouldn't it? Oh, no, wait a minute.
No, it would be the Apollo, you're right. Yeah. 73 to 85. Come on, mate.
Oh, God. Right. Oh, I used to know. Oh, I'm not going to argue with you. Right. So I hope you like this. This is Yes at the Glasgow Apollo in 1977.
Thank you very much. As been said, been saying this for the last couple of nights, but it's really fantastic to be back in Glasgow.
I couldn't resist putting that wee bit at the end in. Had to edit it slightly in because the applause went on for about 20 minutes on the video.
Yeah.
Not a bad pop combo.
Not bad.
They're
Not bad.
extraordinary. That was Rick Wakeman had just rejoined the band after falling out with them about the Tales from the Topographic Ocean album. Yeah. So, all right.
Which guy was Nigel Tufnell?
What? Oh dear. It's a good job you're not drinking. I tell you, it could be a complete nightmare. Oh.
Derrickson Hubman. Anyway, it's all right. It just look like Steve Howe was a little bit Jeff Beck. Nigel Tufnell was, Jeff Beck, whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Carry on.
Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed it tonight. We both loved it. We're going to stop for 5 or 10 minutes, then jump on Zoom. So if you want to grab a beer or a glass of wine and then have a chat with everybody together. It was great last week, so I hope some of you managed to come along and join us. So good night from me. I'm Scott MacArthur.
Good night from me. I am Andy Muir.
We'll see you next week, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for watching.